So, I want to start this video by telling you that this is not content creation. I'm not a content creator. I want to discuss a very important issue. And if you're a Nigerian, I think this should concern you. And I think this is something that we all must pay attention to. You know, one of the issues we're having is not that our problems are too complex that it cannot be solved. No, it is because most times we're using political approach to solving problems, and some many times it works, but the effectiveness hardly gets to the grassroots. Now I'm making this video to introduce you to a statement that was made by the current DG of DSS, the DG of DSS of Nigeria. He has spent 35 years with Nigeria's secret police. He understands the intelligence. He knows what he's talking about. I don't have anything much to say. I just want you to watch the video yourself and make up your mind. Now, before I show you that video, I took this personally because I've been one of the advocates of this solution many years. I've been talking about this over and over and over again. When it comes to solving the security problem in Nigeria, whether it is in the southeast, southwest, doesn't matter where it is, the most practical, the most affordable, the most reliable solution is to transform the communities themselves into a first response arrangement where the first response is within the community. Each community in Nigeria must be empowered to be able to be the first response to security threats in their communities. It doesn't matter how many grammar we speak, as long as the people we are trying to protect are not part of the security architecture, we are wasting our time. Now, hear me out. This is not innovation. It's nothing new about this. This is what has always worked, and it is working, and it is going to work. Now, finally, before I show you this video, remember that personally, growing up in the village, I remember when there was security threat. It wasn't kidnapping, it was armed robbers. They never entered my village. You know how that was done? Because the villagers, I wasn't part of it, I was so young, but I remember the village mobilized, contributed money, bought their own. I remember it was 2 pistols that they bought. And the able-bodied men turned themselves into vigilante within that community. At night, they will block access to the community, and they have armed people guiding the community. That is how no armed robbery took place in my community. Now, listen to the DG of DSS. He's giving the same example with communities in the north. What people forget is that insecurity in one part of the country will contribute to insecurity in other parts, right? That is why I said everybody must watch this. You must share this video to make sure that it gets to those who needs to see it. Remember, for example, what is a political solution? Is to tell me that the way to improve security is to create state police, create local government police. Hear me out. The police that we have, their greatest challenge is funding. They are barely funded. They are understaffed. They are not motivated. And you think that the best thing is to create more of the same structure. Where are you going to get money to fund them? Secondly, it doesn't matter whether you agree or not. The Nigerian police have run a police where Nigerians don't trust them. I'm not the one saying this. We don't need Harvard data to prove that. If you want to know whether what I just said is true or not, ask 5 of your family members whether they trust Nigerian police or not. Ask them, when they see Nigerian police, how do they react? There's nothing. The most practicable way to solve the security problem in Nigeria, in any part of the country, is to transform the communities themselves to become the first level of response. If anybody knows, say, when are they ready for them? If anybody knows, so Nakaro na own gun, nobody will invade your community. It's as simple as that. So Please go and watch. This video is coming up. Watch this video and don't forget to share it. Thank you very much.
Speaking seriously about the practical approach to mobilizing to curb insecurity, I'll share experience with you when I was state director in Bauchi. Most of you will remember an incident in Azari. A group of terrorists, the Boko Haram, then had invaded Azari. They were shooting in an attempt to kidnap, and the community chased them. They killed some members of the community, but the community members killed all of them. The last guy, Khalid, climbed onto a tree and was firing. The community stood, they were resilient, and they killed Khalid. Since that day, there has not been one terrorist attack in Azari. As a matter of fact, the former head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, said, and I quote, "If we want to stop or curb this terrorism, we shall emulate the Azari example." Tafawa Balewa also happened to be a local government in Bauchi that was always in flames. And the people of Bogoro and some part of Tafawa Balewa, where the Sayawas are, rose up on one occasion. They knew their terrain better, climbed onto trees and mountains. And when the invaders came, they did not only repel them, they seized their weapons. And since then, you can attest to it that you hardly hear about Tafawa Balewa again. What I'm trying to say, the practical approach to mobilizing people, is that you have to get everyone involved. You do not expect the Nigerian Army, police, DSS, to protect every Nigerian or every community. It is not going to work. In the US, if you visit someone in the house, you will be shocked that when the guy hears a police siren, he will just pull his drawer, bring out his gun and keep it. So one of my hosts did that, and I asked him, "Why are you putting gun here?" He said, "Well, if they are chasing someone and he enters my house, I shoot him first." And that is the layer we have to start thinking about. How can you create first line of defense? The military, police, and other security agencies are to deal with the bigger ones, the organized ones. But it is impossible for us to deploy it to every community in the country. It is unimaginable that any security agencies that has the resources to do it. So as we live here, we all belong to one community or the other. What we have to start experimenting is how we can make the community to prepare first, if the first line of defense for us. General Wahab said it clearly. And for me, there are 3 takeaways from his lecture. By the way, the general and I were guest speaker at one program in our office, so I'm not surprised that it's a dexterity. He has developed some sort of expertise in what he does. But 3 things for me. He asked us a question. What is our own culture? Our culture is communal. We do things together. Festival together. Ceremonies together. Wedding ceremony, whatever. So why can't we fight some miscreants, some charlatans among us together? The community should say, "You cannot come here. This is what Tafawa Balewa has done. If you go to that community to attack them, you'll be sorry for yourself." I challenge anybody to try it. And this is the way we have to do. We have to allow some level of armament for the communities, and they can serve as the first line of defense. Second takeaway from what the general said, whole society approach is not the first time we are hearing. But what I'm saying, the way to do it is when we live here, those of us who have some influence, the elites in society, discuss with your communities, come to us, get some sort of approval and guidance, and then we can stop these criminals. You can imagine you call sector, let's say sector 4 or whatever, sector of the army, to come to this community if there's an attack. Before they even arrive there, if they attack another community, what happens? This is what we should take away from here. And lastly, he said something very instructive. By the way, I like Osman. He knows who to give time. Have you seen him around here? He has advised himself. So don't run into trouble like the CDS. Okay, so last thing he said to us, which is quite important, is that we should not make this another talk show. And that's why this is my intervention. That security starts from you. There's nothing that is new. 1870 something, I can't remember. The French Revolution, in the street of Paris, they were beheading people. We've had hijack of plane. We'll forget quickly. We've had the wet ear syndrome. We had so many. There's no Metassini and whatever. There will always be security problem. So when I hear people say this is security in Nigeria, as long as human beings exist, there will be security problem. The issue is the response. We have to take that mentality away. What is the security agencies doing? Who, apart from a tree, knows that they want to come and cut him and remain standing? Only a tree. We have to get the communities to rise and defend themselves first. And the time to start it is now.